And welcome back, Worldwide Wolves, coming to you from me, Pittsburgh, and from my co-host Jake, Australia. And Jake, my friend, the curse is broken. The curse of every time we record, it seems to be coming off a loss. And it ended last week with the most horrific Phoenix loss ever, fittingly. So we're here to talk about a more positive Wolves team coming right off of a Clippers win. We missed last week. I was back home for Thanksgiving and then I had a couple Wolves games and then got sick, so it didn't work. But we're back here. Jake, it's been a good week. They're 5 wins in a row. How you
hmm
feeling? Third best start in franchise history. Celebratory. It's a great team, isn't
yeah,
it?
it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but it was nice to break the curse. It got a bit shaky there for a moment.
Of course it did, though.
It got real shaky. It had some familiar vibes towards the end of that game, but I'm happy to be here and talk about a win, even if it wasn't the most convincing win.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that win, and we're going to go over our 3 core pillars to give us some structure here, just because we don't really have structure, so we try to. We're going to do kind of a big theme of the week slash season, just, big theme that we've noticed. And then a trend that we're going to talk about, whether it's real or fake, just something based off of, recent games here. And then an underrated thing from this Wolves team that we think is going under discussed or just needs more talking about. We'll each have something for that. If it's the same, we'll just expand on that. But should be fun. Just on this Clippers game first, biggest takeaway, I guess, Jaden McDaniels. I think I'll throw this to you because I know, you
hmm
definitely love a good Jaden McDaniels game. But yeah, huge game from Jaden in a game where Anthony Edwards was kind of slowed down largely by Chris Dunn. But yeah, Jaden McDaniels tonight. Um, what do you think? I know you're probably
Yeah,
super excited about this one.
yeah. I mean, he was just awesome. It feels like we've kind of lost we haven't had a really big Jaden McDaniels game for a while, kind of since Ant came back, and that usage that he had in that non-Ant time kind of decreased, which we all expected would happen. He still played really well, I think, in those, well, kind of the whole season,
It's
but
just quieter, yeah.
it hasn't been the usage that was there. He was making the most of the usage that he had, but tonight you kind of see, Randall doesn't have it, Ant doesn't have it. They're really struggling to find creativity within the offense. The Clippers I actually thought defended like really well, which it was not the book on them before the game. And Jaden just kind of, found a way to torture all of that and to leave his imprint on the game. And they really needed it. So yeah, I just think it was an awesome game. Him and Nas both in that fourth quarter really kind of saved them because they just didn't have much juice in this game offensively. And they're a team that generates their juice through Ant and through Randall. And when both of those guys are inefficient, kind of turnover prone, or just not don't have any juice themselves, they needed someone to turn to. And I think Jaden and Nas are both in that bucket tonight.
Yeah, Nas was the guy I wanted to really focus on as well. 19 points, all of them seem to be coming at really opportune times. Corner 3 for him is just like, it's a layup. I mean, that might be
Mm-hmm.
the easiest shot on this team. And the one late, the one where he tipped the rebound back off a Jaden mid-range, that was maybe his ugliest shot of the game. Yeah, it happens. But the
Yeah.
Nas tip out and then the Nas corner 3, electric, even though the Wolves could have held it for that final shot. I love a good buzzer beater, but yeah, you'll take the 3. And no, Nas overall tonight. Shout out him for carrying this bench offense on his back, really taking a full load there that he needs to just handle. So, yeah, Jaden Nas, really good game for them. And I guess we can. You got any other huge takeaways from this Clippers game, or just any other games this week before we get into broader stuff?
Yeah, not really. I think we can loop this game into
Yeah,
the broader stuff because does feel like this game was pretty emblematic of the good things that are happening, some of the bad things that are happening. Like it did feel like this game was a little bit of a kind of analogy for the season, I guess, because it was ugly. They ended up winning, which they have more often than not this season. But you could see the flaws and the kind of good things in the offense.
yep, agreed. I'm sure we'll touch on it quite a bit. So I'll throw it to you first here for the big theme of the week slash. It's hard. It's that we don't really have a name, but big theme that you want to just go over in general here. What do you want to talk about today?
I think we spoke about this last episode, but I do think it's at the moment. I think it's the most important thing that's happening in this season is that the starting five is usually. I don't think tonight was a great example of that, but the starting five is usually really good, and that's if the 4 of the 5 are on the court, they are really good. Like that's been a pretty much a theme for the entire season, I think. And as soon as kind of there's 3 starters and 2 bench guys, they're really bad, and that's because the bench isn't very good. And that's kind of, I guess, excluding Naz Reid. He's been up and down, but outside of Naz Reid, I just don't think they've had anything off the bench. And that's a twofold thing. Is it's a good thing because the starters are really good. It's a bad thing because the bench doesn't have any juice. I'll just go through these numbers because I think they're
This is
very
exactly the
interesting.
same as mine, by the way. So
Is it?
that's great.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Well, I
Yep.
think these are interesting. So this is before this Clippers game, so I don't have the numbers here from that. And this is kind of, it's a bit nerdy, but so the full starting lineup: Ant, Gobert, McDaniels, DiVincenzo, Randall, plus 18.4 net. So they plus 18.4 points per 100 possessions. Their offensive rating is 127 points per 100. Defense 108 points per 100. Both extremely elite. You take Ant off the floor, they're a plus 21.7, so even better. You take McDaniels off the floor instead of, this is just keeping the other 4 on the floor at these
Yep.
times.
Yep.
So you take McDaniels off the floor and it's those
Put
4
Ant back
guys.
on. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, they're plus 31.1. You take Gobert off the floor, they're plus 31.7. You take Randall off the floor, it drops a lot. But it's still plus 5.4, which is a good net rating. You take DiVincenzo off the floor, it's plus 12.4. So no matter what combination of guys is out there, they're a really great team as long as 4 starters are on the court. But we know that they're not, plus 30 for the season. They're not the best team in the league. So that happens because as soon as there are multiple bench guys out there, this team kind of falls apart. So that is a theme for me because I think it plays into what's happening right now. I think it plays into what needs to happen at the trade deadline. I think it plays into kind of all of these things, is that they just don't have enough depth. I mean, we saw Nas have 19, 9, and 3 assists tonight, and then you get 8 points from Jalen Clark. I thought he was really good. Again, they win a game that Jalen Clark plays over 15 minutes. Now undefeated, I think 12-0 now when Clark plays over 15 minutes. But then you get Mike
Yeah. Yep.
Conley. He had a good offensive night, I thought, tonight. I thought he was bad defensively, but not kind of, any worse than usual. 0 points from Rob Dillingham, 2 points from TJ Shannon. They're not getting anything from those back end guys. I think Conley's in that bin usually, that he's not kind of, they're just not getting enough juice from him. So yeah, it feels like they're kind of living on this 6-person rotation right now. And maybe Jalen Clark kind of as the 7th, but then you still don't have the scoring from Clark. It's just, yeah. So to me, that's the big thing of the season, because I feel like if they can either sort that out internally and find a way to get Rob going or get Mike going or get TJ going, or, I don't know, get ways for Jalen Clark to score a little bit more and to add more value there, then they'll become a really good team. Or they need to sort that out via trade. So, yeah. What are your thoughts kind of on that subject?
Yeah, I mean, so to me, they've got 7 legit guys that are in the rotation. I include Clark, like, defensively, he's elite. And scoring, when he does shoot, it's 40% 3-point shooting, and it's a struggle inside of the arc, and he doesn't take
He
a
was
lot of
good in
threes,
this
so
game. He was good in this game.
fair,
He
yeah.
had 2. Did he have 2 and 1s in this game?
Did he? I
Yeah, I
remember
think so.
1.
I think in the third quarter he had 2 in
Okay.
a short space.
Maybe he turned the
But
corner tonight, but yeah.
in general, this game was a bit of an
Yeah.
outlier in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I think they've got 7 legit guys. And, Rob, I struggle to see it, man. TJ, I thought we'd get a lot more. And Mike has fallen off of a cliff. Mike Conley, actually, 32.6% from 3, since just the last month in general. Like, that's the one thing Mike Conley, like, he's gonna shoot
Yeah.
38 to 40%
It's
guaranteed.
very concerning.
If that falls off a cliff, man, like, should get 0 minutes right now. I mean, he was
Yeah.
good tonight, I thought, just really smart on the offensive end. But the scoring punch on offense, it's Naz Reid. If it's not Naz Reid, it's a black hole, and that's really concerning. We've said it before, but just relying on one guy to carry all of that, it's a lot of pressure on Naz's shoulders. He can't have a bad game. If he does, nothing good is going to come out of that bench unit. And I really focused more just on the bench unit. I'm glad you had the stuff on the starters, but they do have the 3rd fewest bench minutes and bench points. It's concerning. Trade
Mm,
deadline, like, that's gonna be a big focus. Excited to see the conversations that circulate there. Malik Monk might be a fun guy to talk about eventually or something, but man, right now, I don't even know where the Wolves go from here. Did we think preseason or just before the season it was gonna be this big of an issue? Like, I don't remember talking about it this much. We talked a ton about Rob. TJ, I think we really penciled in TJ Shannon
yeah,
as a
yeah,
rotation player, and he's really, really struggling right now. I I don't know.
mm,
Maybe the injury's
yeah,
lingering, but
yeah.
he's
I
just not
think.
fitting
Well, I
right now.
think the difference, the chasm between what we thought in the preseason to now is got a lot of kind of branches that come off that. One is that Rob and TJ aren't giving you anything in terms of scoring punch. Like you could say Rob. I mean, Rob's been good defensively for a really small guy, which is still not a good defender, but he's giving you a bit of that. He gives you a little bit of drive and kick game, but he's not giving you the 8 to 12 points that I guess we kind of thought if he was getting you know 15 minutes in a game. Like even if he got 15 minutes, which he isn't, he's not going to give you 15 points ever. That seems like TJ. Yeah, like you said, we penciled him in to be like a 18-minute a night guy who gives you 8 to 12 points as well, and he has been, I think, the worst of the three young guys this season. The other thing is that we also thought Dante DiVincenzo would be on the bench,
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Yep.
and that's whatever 12 to 15 points every night. Um, and that has been a big problem. Not really that Dante. I think Dante's been kind of. I mean, he's in those starting lineups that we spoke about that are
He should be
performing so
starting, I
well.
think, but it just
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it would feel almost malpractice at this point if we were kind of doing if this was the Mike Conley we were getting or the Rob Dillingham we were getting every night and they were starting, we would probably say maybe it's time to go to Dante. Like so that's why I just think that it might be the trade table that they fix this because even when Mike plays well, I mean he was plus 14 in this game. He still is not like he's doing all those little veteran things. He's not going to give you
Yeah.
the Nas Reed energy or the even the Jalen Clark energy that he brings on the other side of the ball. Like he is more of just a steadying force. And I think a lot of this season he hasn't even been that. But even on his good nights, Conley's not going to kind of prop up the bench and make it feel like a really strong bench unit. So it's just one of those things that I feel like they've kind of snookered themselves with the Dante Mike conundrum. And I don't think they're doing the wrong thing as a team or as a coaching staff. Like, I just think that that's the way the roster is right now. So the good thing is that the starting lineup works. If the starting lineup wasn't working, this would get really ugly really
Well, yeah,
fast.
they'd just
But
be a really bad team, yeah.
yeah, and the starting lineup plays more minutes, and you play a lot of minutes with four guys on the court in the starters. So that is a thing that you can survive, and they are surviving that. But I think when you go back to these games, you go back to the second quarter against the Pelicans the first time. I think the second quarter against the Pelicans, the second game as well, the second quarter against Boston. The second quarter is a theme here because that's when the bench guys play. Like that's when Ant's not in the game. Randall sometimes not, he's not going to be in the game for a full 12 minutes. Gobert sits at times in the second quarter. DiVincenzo, like the second quarter is when you get those kind of mostly bench units. The third quarter, it'll always start with the starters. The fourth quarter, you're always going to end with all of the starters, all the best players on that night. The second quarter is when you get the Rob minutes, you get the TJ minutes, you get, Michael play for 4 or 5 minutes in that quarter. So I think it's helpful when they're having these terrible periods of games. I mean, tonight even the Clippers game, like it was the same thing. The second quarter, like these terrible periods of games always coincide with when there's multiple bench guys on the court.
Yeah, it's an interesting trend that, I guess I've realized without realizing it that the numbers are like this the way they are with these 4 guys, just any rotation of them. And it's not like there's other guys on the bench that they can just pluck off and play, Ingles,
Mm-hmm.
Baron J, Miller. Maybe those guys can like we talked at lengthy about Baron J a few episodes ago, but
Yeah,
I don't think he's ready
it's
for any sort of real
and it's not
rotation and it's
it's
yeah,
not reasonable to expect that if you put
right.
Johnny Juzang in that that it's gonna be much different. You might get a
The
different
best option might be Bones,
vibe.
man.
Yeah, but then even we've seen Bones and he kind of started well and tailed off. Like he can have those same. He probably gives you more. scoring punch, but then
What if they just
you know,
replace Conley's minutes with Bones? You like the team better or worse?
mm, I don't know, man. That's a tough question.
One you don't want to answer. Yeah,
Um,
but it's just a little.
yeah, I think maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I can't really answer that. I don't think it. I think
It
it's kind
depends
of
on the night.
negligible.
You might get
Yeah,
15 from
it does.
Bones. You might get 0. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you have these nights from Conley. This one, I think, was it the Spurs? The Spurs game, I think maybe I thought was Conley's best game of the season. Like it wasn't a high scoring game, obviously, but I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
that he kind of ran that whole fourth quarter. But then, yeah, again, it's not the pop. It's not the every night consistency that you need, and that you lost with Natil. Like Natil was an up and down kind of player himself, but not only have you lost the Eastern Conference All Star Natil
Jesus
Alexander
Christ, man.
Walker, but you've replaced him with multiple negative players, and I
Yeah,
think
you
that's
just
that's
didn't
the issue.
replace him, essentially.
Yeah, and I understand the theory behind it. Like we said, we
We
kind of
agreed with it,
agreed,
I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but it just hasn't panned out that way, and that's it's kind of it's not. I don't think it's Finch's fault. I don't think it's. I mean, it might be maybe a bit of Tim Conley's fault, but they had to give some of these guys a run and see what they had, and
If
they're
it's
just
anyone's
not
fault,
getting.
it's Conley's for drafting Rob. Like that's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah, but it just hasn't worked. So they'll have to either stick with it and just have a bad bench all season, or they'll have to kind of find a way to get one more depth piece.
It just depends on what they want out of this season, really. Like, are they expecting to
Hmm.
go try to beat the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals again? If so, a trade is, almost guaranteed. If they're treating the season more as a let's see what we got, and then next year they sort it all out, they don't, swing for the maybe they trade for Dennis Schroeder or something. But like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I guess we could move on to the next thing, unless you got anything else on this first broad topic here.
I'll just pose one question before we move off
Okay.
this: is what would the playoff rotation be for you if the season ended today and they were in the first round series with Houston or someone like how many players would be in
Oh
it
God.
and who would they be? Obviously, the
Well,
starting
okay.
five
Yeah, that was the starting
and
five,
Nas. So it's
and
the starting five and Nas.
well,
Is it
Clark. I'm for sure putting Clark. I am. I
so? That,
really
so
think
you're at.
Clark is that valuable.
Would you go to 8? I mean, there'd be times where multiple other guys would have to play probably, but like as a base rotation, would you go with 8 or would you just try and worm your way around that 7? With DiVincenzo maybe playing more point guard minutes, like actual point guard minutes without Ant on the floor. Because do you have no backup point guard, or do you just go with Conley or go with Rob and kind of accept that they will get picked on in the playoffs?
I think on the surface, I go with 7, but over 7 games, over 14 games, 20, whatever. Like you can't do 7. You're gonna get so
Hmm.
fatigued. You're gonna get so worn down. By the time you do face OKC, you're gonna be on your last legs. Like I I can't like in good conscience throw Conley or Rob or TJ right now out there, but at the same time you don't have a choice. So it's a weird conundrum where I don't want
Yeah.
to play any of those guys or think they deserve to play, but it's also like you need to give someone else 10 more minutes just to
Mhm.
keep these guys alive, kind of. So
Yeah,
I don't
and
know. I
at
want
this
7,
point,
but you
Ant would be
expand to 8.
playing. Yeah, at this point, Ant would be playing 40 plus minutes, I think, in a playoff
Oh yeah,
series. Like,
yeah.
and
I go
and
8, and
Rand,
it's probably Conley just sporadically to calm things down, or
yeah, like, can you get 8 minutes of Conley every night? And just because he does
right.
have, I think he's more likely to have a good game in the playoffs than Rob.
Who do you for
You
sure not even consider throwing out there of the 3? Is it Rob?
yeah, probably. I mean, I would like them to give. It's weird because I would like them to give Mike's minutes to Rob. I think at this point
Yeah.
in the regular season, but then it's hard to say right now that you trust Rob in a playoff game more than Mike. Like, then neither.
I think more like there's more for TJ. We know there is.
Yeah,
Is there the player we thought he would be? Is that still in there? Maybe not. But is there anything even close to it that he can get to where he's, you know, deserving of 12 to 15 minutes a night? Because right now, man,
yeah,
it's
and they
really bad.
and they seem pretty dedicated to trying to find that for him. Like,
They should be. They need to be.
I think Finch with all of the young guys. I've said this almost every episode. Is I think Finch with TJ and Rob. Like, I think he's giving them minutes to prove themselves. Like, Rob got 9 minutes in this game. Like, TJ only got 5, but he was terrible in those 5. Like, It's a fine
Yeah,
balance.
and once they're
I
down
th-
18, it's like, you're not gonna play again because we need to try to win this
yeah,
game.
and I think that the theory that if you cut one of them, if you cut one of Clark, Conley, Dillingham, or Shannon from the rotation, you choose whichever one you don't want out there. I think Clark might have graduated out of that group now, but if
Yeah,
you cut one of those guys and give all of those minutes to the other ones, that would make more sense. Like I do think that's a fair theory to have. Um, but I also think they want to try and figure out like which one of the guys it is, and you can't figure out if it's TJ if you stop giving him minutes completely. You can't figure out if it's Rob if you stop giving him minutes completely. And I just don't think they're willing to not give Mike any minutes. So
I'm fine with regular season giving these guys I have no problem with that, with giving them
yeah.
minutes. They might suck, and we're gonna come out here and, like, complain about it, but, like, you gotta do it.
But and I guess the thing is giving TJ Shannon 4 minutes and 52 seconds in a
Sure.
game like this enough to let him work out the kinks in his game? And I think one answer would be no, because it's a tiny shift. And the other answer would be, well, if he played better, he'd play more than 5 minutes.
Both of those are true. It's man, it's so weird. It's hard for me to wrap my head around how bad TJ has been, again, considering what we saw last season and what we expected. I really think a corner turn is coming here, and I think we saw it in a game after his
Mm-hmm.
injury, so
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know.
the ideal version of TJ is, I think, like helps this team the most. Maybe it's Rob, but like I feel like TJ
But
kind
what
of
even is
playing
the
off.
ideal version of Rob right now?
Yeah, maybe that's harder to see. Whereas TJ, I think what he does when he plays well.
Right.
And that is the guy who can like attack closeouts off Ant's gravity. He can make threes. He can get to the rim. He can play make a little bit, defend a little bit. Like he kind of brings the best of all of these things you're getting from Clark or Dillingham or Conley. Like he brings a little bit of everything. Not as good as any of those guys are at certain things, like at playmaking or at defending, but he brings all of it. So I think that's why they are trying to get him involved.
Yeah,
Oh.
and we've seen the flashes. I think you're disrespecting Clark a little today, man. You keep putting him in these conversations. I think he's
Well,
in with
I'm putting him
Nas
in the
Reed here.
conversations because Finch and the coaching staff do.
Okay,
Like,
fair. All right, fair enough.
like there
Yeah,
was multiple games last week where he played like 6 minutes.
yeah, all
I
right.
think Clark should be playing 20. Like if you were just asking me, I'd take the minutes. I'd take minutes off Conley, Dillingham, and Shannon and give them all to Clark because I love him.
All right. Had to clear that up. I was like, usually you love this guy, but you're like roping him in here. All right.
All right, let's move on.
All right, I'll start with this one. This is the real or fake segment. Is this trend that we've noticed? Is it going to continue or is it going to not continue? I kind of want to go over just the last month's 3-point shooting from a handful of guys here. Some
Mm-hmm.
interesting trends. Julius Randle, who we crowned as Steph Curry after a few games this year, has taken a large dip over the last month. He's taking 4.8 attempts per game, shooting 29.9%. He's under
Oof.
30% over the last month, which kind of came out of nowhere. And he's
Mm.
a career 33.5% shooter. So, like, when I say this came out of nowhere, I guess I'm lying. It came out of the career wide trends that we've seen. This dip was kind of expected. It just hit so hard because of the way he started this season. He's coming down to earth. It needs to rewrite its course pretty quickly here. His 3-point ball is such an effective tool at just getting him and the team open looks and just better looks overall. But after him, mentioned this one earlier, but Mike Conley, 3.1 attempts per game in the last month, 32.6% over the last month. Still shooting 38% on the season. But as I said earlier, if this goes away, completely unplayable. Need Conley to be at that 38% consistently.
Yeah.
32 is really bad considering he brings not much else right now. And then Rob Dillingham, 31.3% on 1.1 attempts per game. Maybe actually better than I expected when I dove into these
Yeah, I mean
numbers.
the 1.1 attempts is the most shocking thing. I thought it would be like 0.1.
Man, it is really bad with him right now. Extremely hesitant to shoot, and then when he does, it just doesn't go in much. That's real until proven otherwise. He's just been shooting like that this whole
Mm-hmm.
season and most of last season. It's ugly, it's not good. But on the positive end, McDaniels over the last month, 3.1 3-point attempts per game, 45%. And then Jalen Clark, 2.3 attempts per game over the last month, 40.6%. On McDaniels, he shot 33% both of the last 2 years, and a crash from him I think would be just pretty killer for this offense. He's not going to
Yeah.
shoot 45% on the year, but can we shoot 40? That would be kind of huge. And then Jalen Clark, like we mentioned it a million times in the offseason. We know what we're getting from the defense. I think the defense has been even better than we expected. So if he continues to shoot 40%, that's a legit seventh guy. That's a legit rotation player, guaranteed, stamped in the playoffs as well. So
Mhm.
big fan of those two. And I guess of those five that I gave you, and everyone else is where you'd expect them, but of those five that I gave you, what do you think is real? What do you think is fake so far or going forward?
I think Conley's a better shooter than he's shot in the last month. Like I don't think he's going to fall off. That's the one thing that I kind of like I bank on with Mike. Clark, I've said this before that I just need to see Clark go on an extended run of not being able to shoot the ball
Right.
before like I feels like he shouldn't be able to shoot, but he just keeps making threes both seasons now.
Yeah.
He makes threes. Like he doesn't shoot a lot. He isn't a floor spacer. He doesn't force teams to defend him outside the 3-point line. He gets a lot of open shots, but like he makes threes. So that I think that might be real. The Randall one I think is regression to the mean. Like he'll probably at some point he's either he's the statistical kind of standard that a player like him, if he shoots 45% for 6 or 7 games, he's then going to shoot 25% for 6 or 7 games, because he will level out in that like mid 30s area. So whether it's going to be interesting, I think, to see whether he's the type of player this season who does he do that all season? Does he have 5 games where he makes all of his threes and then 5 where he doesn't? Or can he kind of settle back into like a rhythm where he's just an average shooter all the time?
Was it like that last season? I don't think it was. I think he was just kind of consistent.
No, it was because he was
Really?
he was
That's
really
right. Okay.
bad
He
to
was like
begin the
horrible.
season,
Okay.
and then when he came back from injury, he was really good. And that I don't know if that's how he always is. Obviously, we haven't got a massive sample size on him as a shooter, as a Timberwolves shooter, but yeah. So that I feel like might be real in terms of it's just the stats kind of figuring themselves out. I don't think he's going to shoot under 30% going forward.
He is
Rob,
shooting less. Like the 4.8 attempts is like pretty
I think
less
his
than what he
shot
does
selection
overall.
has been pretty poor. His 3-point shot selection. I mean, there's some shot selection things always with Randall and with Ann and with all these high usage guys, but I think sometimes he just bails the defense out by shooting a three, especially those jab step threes. I like when he shoots a quick catch and shoot. Like I think I'd love to go back and watch all of his 3-point shot attempts and figure out how many had a jab step before the three and how many didn't, because I think the percentages would be massively different. Because when he hesitates, he's a rhythm shooter, I think, Randall, but he's not afraid to shoot an out of rhythm three. So yeah, I just think that it's a weird thing with him like that. Rob's just not a shooter at the moment. He's scared to shoot. Whether that's Finch taking him out of the game for a pull-up three last season, whether it's just a natural loss of confidence from a player who just doesn't seem to have much confidence.
Yeah. It's a shame the Wolves keep drafting these defense first point guards, man. Like they need to find a guy that can just be a shifty shooter and just really be confident on that end. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But the thing I will say is it's important. Like you said, it's going to be really bad for their offense if Jaden crashes all the way back down to what he's been. It's going to be really bad if Randall continues shooting like this. It'll be really bad if kind of Dante has a big fall off, or Jalen Clark gets more minutes and then can't shoot all of a sudden. Like, because just looking at this here, when they've made 15 threes this season, the Wolves are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're 8-3 when they made 15 threes or more this season. So they are a team that, thrives when they shoot threes, when they make a lot of threes. And at times I've kind of thought that's their identity because they don't really have an identity, but it does feel like they're a team that gets a lot of threes, can make a lot of threes. And that's obviously Ant's a high volume
Right.
3-point shooter. They want Dante as well.
And when Ant draws the attention he does, like there's gonna be guys open.
Exactly.
So gotta be able to make it.
And Julius is the same. His assists are normally kick out assists for three. So, they're not a team that is good in the pick and roll passing. Like they're not finding Gobert at the rim a lot. They're not finding Randall or Nas on roll man possessions. They are a team that likes to draw gravity and then kick away from the gravity and get the open shots from the 3-point line. So they need to continue making threes. And I feel like when they don't make threes, they're just not really very good. So it's important that this team, those guys that are making three continue to, and those guys who aren't start making them more reliably.
Yeah. All right. And for what it's worth, Dante's shooting 38% over the last month, which good enough.
On
He'll
super high
fluctuate. So
volume as well.
yes,
So,
yeah, for sure.
which is always
Playing,
important.
I
The
like
volume
Dante,
is.
man. I know it's like a crime. He's had 5 points, but like I don't mind Dante. I really
I
don't.
think he's been pretty good this season. Like I
Yeah.
don't, I think the problem with Dante is that sometimes he's like a weird fit on the team. But
And
I
he has
don't
those
think,
3-on-1 fast break moments like today where he just throws it
yeah,
at James Harden.
yeah, he has the bozo gene in him,
Yep, for
which
sure.
this whole team does. He fits in well with the whole team. So, um, I'll go to my trend, which is a bit of a weird one. I think I'm going to do a video on this. I think later on. I think they have almost saved this portion of the season, and I'm narrowing that down to these 5 wins in a row, because if they could have lost any of these 5 games. In fact, I think maybe they should have lost, at least 3 of them. Like I think they've been down by over 10 in every single one of these 5 losses.
Is it Celtics, Spurs, Pelicans, Clippers? Are these
Yeah,
the ones we're talking about? Okay.
I think they've had 10-point deficits in every single one of those games. Usually in those second quarter kind of bench units is what messes them up.
And they've
What
almost
saves
blown a 10-point in almost all of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. What saves them is, well, what has saved them, not as much tonight. Again, tonight is a little bit of an outlier. They did do it a few times. Is this fourth quarter Jaden McDaniels zone? I think
Yes.
zone defense has been it was there a little bit in the Celtics game, which was the first of this win streak. They ran some zone, but mainly with Gobert out there, and it worked reasonably well. The Spurs game, they ran it like 7 or 8 possessions in a row. McDaniel's in the middle of the zone, everyone flying around, kind of around him, revolving around him like he's the goddamn sun. And then they've done it ever since. I think they only did it maybe 3 or 4 possessions in this game. And it had varying, so they got a few stops, they got a few buckets scored on. They went away from it. I thought they should have stayed with it, because what I think it does is, obviously you get Jaden in the middle. It gets him off the ball a little bit more. They pretty much putting him on the center. Even if the center comes and screens the ball in the zone, Jaden won't switch the screen. He'll stay on the center, which is important there. It gets him as a rim protector, gets him moving around, gets him flying from the paint out to shooters, all the things he's good at that we want to see more of. What it also does is it seems to engage everyone else defensively, because they have a very specific plan that can go wrong very easily, I think. Like a zone is a gimmick defense, and you can look stupid in a zone because NBA teams know how to break zones. So I think what it does is Ant's engaged at the top of the zone. He's flying around. He's making rotations because he knows that, he's got this very specific zone job. Dante has been awesome in the zone at the top. It's usually been Dante and Jaden in the middle, and then Julius and Nas. And the main thing is Julius and Nas are defending well in the zone, because they're not rim protecting. They're not having to make low man rotations. They're not having to defend pick and roll ball screens. All of the things they're not good at, because they're not centers, and they're still bad defenders, even as power forwards. What that turns them both into is just wing defenders, like just fly around guys who kind of need to make rotations away from the rim. And Jaden, to his credit, which is really surprising, is very clearly orchestrating all of this. He is pointing at guys. He's telling guys where to go. A very not Jaden McDaniels thing to do is to be, I would say, the loudest guy on the court. Like, obviously, I'm not there, but from watching it, he's the most demonstrative guy on the court, pointing. He's telling Ant where to go. He's telling Dante where to go. Like, I'm loving watching it, because I just think it's engaging all of these guys. Before this game, they had played that 5-man unit. I think, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I looked them up last night. Had played 44 total minutes for the season. 35 of those minutes had come in the 4 games before this one. And their defensive rating was 104. And I think their offensive rating was 145 maybe. So, like,
It'll work.
and
Yeah.
the offense, I'm not talking, I guess, about the offense here, because that's obviously nothing to do with the zone, but
We know
that's
the offense can work with
yeah,
these. Yeah.
and that's a Julius and Nas lineup for multiple minutes in fourth quarters that has 104 defensive rating. And like I feel like they've figured out a way to kind of circumvent the terribleness of that defensive front court, and it's all through Jaden. I think it's just been like a revelation for this team. I mean, I'm curious to see if they can do it against better teams. Like it seemed like they kind of bailed on it pretty early against the Clippers because they have more weapons. You have James Harden attacking a zone. You have Kawhi Leonard. It might not work in the same way. Um, I think we need a little bit more evidence of that, but it does feel like this is a thing now. That's 5 games in a row that they've gone to it at least 3 or 4 possessions. The second Pelicans game, the Spurs game, they went to it for like a 6-minute stretch. So, and it wasn't just a few possessions of zone. It would have been 10 possessions of zone at least in a row. So yeah, that's my trend. I really want to see more of it. I think it's, like I said, I think it's close to a save their season, because if they lost all 5 of those games, or if they, won 2 of them, we're in a very different mood at the moment.
Yeah, and it kind of ties into my underrated thing. So we'll just kind of transition to both of those topics, I
Oh,
suppose.
you're a segue
Look at
genius.
that. Yeah, how about that? I mean, it's just too easy. But mine was just kind of making this not Jaden, Nas and Julius defensive lineup work, and the zone has been good. But also when you put Clark and Jaden McDaniels on the court with those two, that has
And
been
Clark has
working as
been in
well.
that zone
Yeah.
occasionally as well.
Yep.
I think in tonight's game they had Clark instead of Dante, which in theory should work too.
Yep, and just more on, how much we love Clark. You check lineups like this. It's a 124.3 defensive rating when it's just Nas and Julius, just those two. You don't add any other players. You throw Clark and Jaden into the Nas and Julius lineup. It's a 106.6 defensive rating and was a 66.7 tonight in like 3 minutes and like 28 minutes total on the season. Not sure why there's not more minutes there between those 4. I would love to see that lineup very consistently
Yeah,
because
Rob and TJ is the reason why.
yeah, well, whatever, man. All right. Because as we've talked about 100 times this year, the Nas Julius defense is just horrible, atrocious, the worst the league has ever seen. They've never seen worse. It's crazy. So finding any sort of way to not just make it like league average, but even good at times with this zone and with Clark and Jaden. I love Jaden as a rim protector, man. I've been saying it for
Yeah,
years. He's
yeah,
elite down there. I mean, he's better there than off on ball, I think. So
yeah. And
keep
he's
doing
got
that.
he's got
Yeah.
some of the Rudy Gobert guy. He never minds guys. He's done
Yeah.
that.
Oh, for sure.
He has a presence there.
But
I don't think.
guys still don't know it fully like they do with Rudy on some, so they're still
Yeah,
going up, but not as
yeah.
much.
But
But
there's
yeah.
definitely there's not this kind of bright red flashing light
Yep.
saying attack the paint, which feels like it's half the problem. Is that obviously Randall and Nas aren't good at it, but then teams are so clued in that when those guys are on the floor together, we need to attack the rim. And I think when they go to that zone, or just when they have better perimeter defenders, even when you have Clark out there, if you have
Yep.
McDaniels and Clark, it just mucks things up a little bit and makes it, the straight line drives aren't there. It allows Nas and Julius to kind of get themselves into better positions as well. I think they have figured it out, is maybe the wrong way, not just with the zone, but just, but they are trying things that seem to be
Right.
working.
Yeah, it's not like they're trying things and everything's failing. Like there are things that we're seeing actually begin to work. Whereas this looked hopeless, but
Yeah,
beginning of the season. It was
and
like
it was
150 defensive
killing them.
rating.
It was
Yep.
killing them earlier in the season. The last 10 games, the defensive rating between in Randall and Nas in those minutes, that's 142 minutes. So what's that? 14.2 minutes per game. So it's not a small chunk of a game.
I thought you were
It's at
about to
a
say 142 defensive rating. It's
no,
better
it's
than that, right?
no, it's 111.5,
Okay,
which
yeah,
is
okay.
very,
It's like,
very reasonable. That's would
oh
be
yeah.
kind of, top half of the league probably. So
You have
I
the
think
offensive rating too?
it's 116. So
It's
not
better.
really
It's
great.
better. All right,
Yeah.
you'll take it if it's better. Like if
Yeah.
you're winning
And
those minutes, yeah.
yeah, you're winning the minutes. It's not a huge net rating, but I think the problem was always you need to get the defense under
Yep.
control. Those guys, and Randall hasn't had a great 10 games. Niles has been up and down those 10 games. So it hasn't been the best offense kind of from those two guys in this stretch. But if you get the defense under control, I think you're pretty confident that you can, figure everything out with that lineup. And I think through, like we've been saying, through the zone, through having more perimeter defenders on the court, you have figured this out. Like I said, I keep saying, I think it saved this because I just think the snowball effect was on. where I don't think they could have won as many games as they should have if they kept having 150 defensive rating every time Gobert wasn't on the court.
Well,
And it's allowed them to play long stretches without Gobert without being, the worst team ever. And that's allowed them to have like these kind of explosions offensively that we've seen in the fourth quarters of these games. Like we saw Jaden and Nas in both of the game, both tonight against the Clippers. The last Pelicans game was Jaden and Nas as well. We saw kind of the fourth quarter against the Spurs. They had that beautiful ball movement quarter where
yep.
everyone was just touching the rock. Those things can't happen with Gobert out there. But normally it wouldn't matter because the other team's scoring on every single possession. But yeah, they've figured out a way to kind of, I think, get the best of both worlds defensively. And they have been really good defensively outside of that Pelicans game for quite a while now.
Yeah, it's almost reminiscent of the Patrick Beverley year, just like flying around and figuring it out on the fly, and just like a solid enough defense that is kind of ugly, but like pretty in the way that it's ugly, almost the way that they're just sprinting around the court. It's fun. It's fun basketball. It's fast. I like the way they're playing, and the fact that it's not the most historic worst, two-man of all time. I'll take that. We'll take that for sure. Even if they're winning those minutes, it's a miracle compared to where we were. So I'll throw it to you. What's your underrated thing that you've got written down or thought of?
What I think has been underrated, I guess, I've got a few here. I just want to kind of gather my thoughts. You tell me your one, and because
mine was the Clark Jaden lineup with Julius
okay.
Nas.
Yeah,
I can throw another at you if you want.
One of the things I had was Jalen Clark's impact, but I don't think that's underrated at this point. One thing I will say I think maybe is underrated is that Ant's assist numbers are down. I think at least for now, and I don't think this is it feels a little bit like an excuse to me to give him, but I just feel like the hockey assists and whatever is one pass away from a hockey assist, like if a hockey assist is a secondary assist, is it like a tertiary assist where he makes a simple pass out of a double team and it goes swing, swing, or swing, 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 and it leads to a bucket. I think is really important for this team because it's never going to result in a stat for Ant. It's never going to give him. I mean, even in this game where I thought he was awful and just kind of Chris Dunn just had him on a leash. Like, still, it would have been 7, 8, 9, 10 possessions where the whole point of the offense, the whole kind of flow of the offense is created by Ant getting doubled and making a simple pass out of it. Like, I don't think it needs to be put on a plaque and made it into the biggest thing of the season because a lot of guys get, like Luka Doncic gets doubled all the time and he averages 11 assists a game or something, so he can. It's not to say that he has mastered playmaking, but I think
it's a development we've been like begging for. So
I think the offense works when Ant's on the floor because he can score through doubles and traps better than he ever has been able to. Obviously tonight was bad, and I think the last Pelican game was weird. Like he was kind of not bad when he was on the court, but then had the 4 fouls and it just was weird. But I just think when he's getting trapped and he passes to Nas and Nas takes 2 dribbles inside the paint and then hits Dante in the corner, we don't give that enough kind of credit to the fact that that's all I want Ant to do in that position.
He's open because Ant was doubled, right?
Yeah, and I don't want him to force up a 3 and I don't want him to try and beat the double all the time. Sometimes he needs to, and I think he gets sometimes either too aggressive because he thinks he needs to score, or he gets under aggressive because he's like, well, I'm making the right play all the time here. There is a balance where Ant still needs to find 25 to 30 points every night. That's just a non-negotiable. But I do think his playmaking, his willingness, I wouldn't say his ability. He's always had the ability to make these simple reads out of double teams. I would say his willingness is by far the most willing he's been in his whole career to just get off the ball 6, 7 possessions in a row. And I think at times that does come across as Ant's not trying, Ant doesn't want to be there, and that, I think that frustrates me because it's it would be, I think that's what he's being told to do at times. And I think that's the right thing to tell him to do. He still needs to score. And he scored 40 points every game for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? But the offense is flowing through him it kind of feels a bit ugly sometimes, a bit slow, a bit stilted, but they are generating open shots a lot. So I think that's underrated because it's not flashy and it's not always pretty, and it's not always going to work either. It relies on guys to make shots, guys to be able to dribble more than 3 times after he gives the ball to them, and him to still do the thing that he needs to do as a scorer himself. But it is something to keep an eye on because I think it's kind of the bedrock of this offense right now.
It definitely looks a lot better when Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid both score 20 points. I mean, like they did tonight, and Anthony Edwards is not scoring. That helps a lot. If those guys are missing shots, then Anthony Edwards probably devolves more into trying to break the doubles and trying to get his own. But seeing the guys around him actually be able to hit their shots consistently and just, being more confident in this Jaden McDaniels breakout, I think helps a ton.
Yeah, and this game wasn't a great example because I do think he was too slow on the reads tonight, even if he did do it a lot. And he also just did
a bad game.
And he also just didn't break it. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone defend Ant as well as Chris Dunn did in this game. Like, I know we will blame Ant for it, and I think he deserves it. Like, he was bad in this game.
Anthony Edwards, yeah.
Yeah, like we can expect more than 15 points and a -9 and a bunch of bad fourth quarter possessions from Anthony Edwards. But I just thought Chris Dunn absolutely.
I kind of just forgot he was playing for a while in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think he almost got taken out of it because Naz and Jaden were playing well, and Dunn was just so good on it. Like, he just did not let him turn the corner all game, and that's what he does. Even against traps, he can get around it, and once he gets around the trap, he's kind of playing like downhill with only 3 guys left to defend him. But I just thought Dunn was fantastic in this game.
Even the last play of the game, it was a drawn up mid range for Jaden McDaniels, right? I mean,
I think it was drawn up for Ant because they got it to Ant off the inbound, and again, like, he just could not get past. I'm actually watching it as we speak.
Like he was a decoy.
So he has the ball at top of the key with Dunn on him, and he goes left, and he just can't get like.
Do you think it was meant for him to try to get by him even?
I think it was because they cleared, they flattened out the court, cleared out the side. Like,
it's not like the Jaden shot was a good shot. So if that was the play, I mean, it's
they flattened out the court kind of to let him go ISO, and he just tried to like turn the corner. And he got. I mean, this is on Ant. I think he was just like, I can't do this. Like, I've tried all game and I'm not able to do it. And then he just flowed into a handoff for Jaden, which, was a kind of a poor shot. I kind of thought it was going to go in because Jaden was having one of those nights.
10 of 12 before that. I mean, you'll take it. He hit the 2 winning free throws. Like, you'll take it.
Yeah, I just think that it is something to keep in mind on these bad Ant games, even one like tonight where he was bad, that like this offense is not designed to help him at all. It's designed to get like other guys good shots when he gets doubled, which is a tough place to be in, I think.
Yeah, and I know you got to go here, but just on Anthony Edwards, I think it's okay to criticize the guy. Everyone got mad at the Jace Frederick article. I thought it was really well done and had like 3 awful games in a row. And, Jace is right. You got to be consistent to win MVP. But it's not, if you criticize him, he's going to request out. He's not reading Twitter, dude. It's all right. Like, he's not watching this.
I think as long as there's context around it, I don't mind it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think sometimes, like, this game, but some games I think we like prescribe laziness to like Ant having a bad game, and that's what kind of annoys me is that like. When he has a bad game, it was always that he was lazy. He didn't want to be there. It's like sometimes he just plays shit. Like sometimes and like I think it's because we just expect that Ant is the superhero. He can play well in any game against anybody. We've seen him play.
Comes with the territory. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. And we've played, but like. I do think there's sometimes like, he's just played like shit. Like I think tonight, I don't think he was like lazy in this game. I just think he was, didn't just play well. Yeah. Got outdone, literally.
Hey, future Wolf, by the way, and past
Wolf. Yeah. Future, past, present, and future Wolf. But in terms of Ant, he's always the low scoring games are just something that I'm never really worried about because I'm like, Ant's not going to average 15 points a game for like a month.
Yeah, but
like I want him
still to be like he's not going to be MVP if he has these.
Nights, and he's not going to be MVP because like 2 of the 3 of the 20 best players ever are currently in the league.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, Shea is like on. He's
And one of them was guarding
apparently.
Anthony Edwards tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's just like I think in single game you can like. I'm happy to criticize Ant kind of on any single game that he doesn't play well. I think, but in terms of like, oh my god, like Ant was shit tonight. Like what's happening? I'm kind of like he'll be all right. Like he
Well,
just
yeah.
scored 40. He just scored 40 points a game for like 2 weeks. Like that'll happen again. We know he's good in the playoffs. I don't really have. I want him to do the things he hasn't done before more regularly. And I think one of those things is making those reads out of traps, which are just insane. Like the traps he's facing, it's the top of the scouting board right now. Is double Anthony Edwards, get the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands. We have a chance to win this game if we do that. So that's a Tim Connolly problem.
Good point. All right, gonna be wrapping it up here. I know we got to get going. Any wrapping thoughts, words of wisdom from you, Jake Painting, before we go?
No, it's just nice.
Check out the YouTube channel, right?
Yes,
That's
check out
thing.
House and Growls. Yeah, I don't know what my video is, but I just feel like I want to talk about Jaden McDaniels tonight. So I'm going to do something in that space. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, 5 games in a row. I think we've been pretty good with this hasn't really been a complainy kind of episode.
I think we had context to our complaints. I think the Phoenix episode was just us being like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that was completely justified too. But I think 5 games in a row is nothing to be sneezed at. Even if they have kind of felt ugly. Like they have been down by 10 points in every game, but they keep winning, and they're winning late games, which is important. Even if it gets hairy, like it did against the Clippers. Like these games have all been, I don't know, they're technically clutch games, but they've all been games where they need to play well for a long period, for a lot of the fourth quarter. So that is encouraging to see them winning those games.
I'll say one more thing. The Wolves need to run more promotions in the fourth quarter, because when I was at the game, the loudest cheer you'll ever hear really is the chicken cheer, man.
Was
They
a
need to
guy
do more stuff
crying
like
on the
this.
broadcast tonight? Was he crying real man tears at free chicken? Because I respect the hell out of that.
Even my dad texted me like, "Was this?" He doesn't even watch that many Wolves. I don't. He was like, "Is this guy crying over the chicken?"
Shout out to that guy, man! What a legend!
Man, we'll get him on the pod next week. He'll be the guest.
I need to talk to a man who cried over a chicken sandwich.
They gotta run like if someone hits a layup, you get a free whatever.
Yeah.
Like every play is because the crowd, dude. It was louder than when Ant hit that 3 against the Celtics. Like.
Yeah.
It was nuts. It was like if I were to compare the two, it's like a 10 and then a 9 for the Ant.
People love free food, man.
Yeah, and they probably don't even go get it. It's just like the concept of free food because you got to go out of your way. And I didn't get it. Like I cheered loud as hell.
Where's it from this season?
Chick-fil-A. You know,
we don't have Chick-fil-A? No, we don't have Chick-fil-A at all. And apparently that's one of the better ones. We don't have a lot of the good. Yeah, we don't have good takeaway. Kind of fast food over here.
You have McDonald's?
Yeah, we have McDonald's. We're not living. I'm not living in the
Grinch meal. You heard of the Grinch?
Yeah, I had the Grinch meal the other day. Yeah, I got the toy for my boy.
Dude, the fries. Oh my god, the dill pickle fries. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, see, ours aren't dill pickle. They're just normal fries in a green box. Yeah,
it's not even the Grinch meal. Then you're
just
eating the meal.
The only thing that was different was that I got like a snow globe.
Well, that's pretty cool.
That had the Grinch in it.
We didn't get. I got pickle fry. I kind of wish I had a snow globe now.
I think ours is like a chicken Big Mac.
Really, chicken? Ew.
Yeah, a chicken Big Mac. That's the difference.
Ew. It's just like everything else there.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I might go.
There was no reaction there.
Yeah. Here it's Macca's. We call it Macca's. We shorten everything over here.
You call your burgers to Macca's? Like what?
No, we just call McDonald's Macca's. Like I would say I'm going to get Macca's.
Is it called Macca's?
No, but some of the ads
we call it MacDons. Okay.
No, but we shorten everything over here. Like a service station, petrol station is a servo. The afternoon is an arvo. That's just
whatever.
Yeah, like right now it's 4 o'clock I would say it's 4 o'clock in the arvo.
Avo or avo?
No, it's arvo. Yeah, I don't know. No, we're a weird country. We shorten a lot of words to strange things.
All right, you told me to keep this at 45. Should I wrap it up?
It's 4 in the arvo. I'm literally going to the servo to get petrol right now, or to get petty, we would call it. I'm going to the servo to get petty for my car, and then I'm going to the shops to get some food, to get Macca's.
Get the double chicken Big Mac. Ask for the dill pickle fries. Trust me, everyone, they're great. All right. On that note, we're gonna be back next week talking more Wolves. Yeah, Friday or Saturday, whatever works for us, and maybe talking more trade deadline as we get closer. But we want to
Mhm.
talk about it. It just doesn't make sense yet, so we'll get there. We'll get
That's
there.
the deal. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Peace.